So we've begun to touch there on family life, and in your framework there are three pieces. One is the fundamentals, which we've talked about. Then we've got the perspective, which I think helps you become more centered and get this sense of direction. And I'm in my head, I see that this is for me, but also it's for the people around me. So the third part of your framework is relationships. Is that fair?
Yes, exactly. And what I would recommend people do there is to look at the different relationships they have. So it's like, okay, the people that really mean something to you. So typically so like strong bonds. So it could be your family members and so on. Are these relationships in balance? And what can you influence there? Again, we can't control everything, but maybe we can have an influence. So is there something you want to do differently there? Because again, as you said, Jeremy, that's what people regret. Like when they're about to die, these are the people they regret that they didn't spend more time with. And what could be a way of doing that without becoming, changing jobs and all that kind of thing. So it's just small things we can do, speak on the phone with them on the way home or, something like, so that's small things. It shouldn't be like the big changes, the small steps. So that's one thing. The other one are our so-called deal friends. So these are people that probably boost your ego more than anything else. And maybe we spend a lot of time with them because they make you feel good, but are they really good for you? Are they really boosting the person you want to be? So maybe they are people at work. It doesn't matter where they are. But maybe we should consider spending less time with some of these people, right?
So I've heard that you can be surrounded by people and you can be really, really comfortable because they like who you are. Maybe they are behaving in a way that makes them feel okay.
Yes.
And the minute you begin to change and say, I'm not going to keep doing this because this is now my new direction. This is where I want to go. They cut you off. They alienate you. They don't like you anymore. You're not one of them anymore.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't boost them anymore. So you don't boost their egos anymore, and then you're not interesting anymore. Or maybe you don't, whatever. And then you can really question, okay, is that someone you want to spend energy on? Really? So that should be quite an easy one, right? I think it's more the ones that maybe suck up to us and make us feel good, although maybe it's in the wrong way, And of course, the more senior you become, you have more people like this around you. The yay-sayers that want you, they want to rub your back until you're no longer the right person to support. So it's about, and of course, some of them we need, right? But it's more like questioning, mapping them out and really look at who do I need here and who do I spend too much time with.
So earlier on, we touched on a toxic work environment and what you can do there. And one option is to change it, of course. And one option is to behave differently. And the other one is to, face into the tough bits, but then do something for yourself. What about if you have, and this is not uncommon, but a really toxic home relationship? Maybe you and your spouse or your partner, are just going through a really difficult time. And you want it to be happy. Sometimes you'll look at it and think, I really want this person. What can I change? And other times you'll realize this is not good for me. What's your advice there? How should somebody in a toxic, really close personal relationship, what should they do?
I think, unfortunately, you need to look at it deeply, right? You need to look at you can't keep avoiding it, which probably you have been doing. Because you could say that you have what's happening on top of the table and then you have what's happening below the table. And when you keep avoiding it, you keep putting things underneath the table. So you don't talk about it, but it's all these emotions. And you both do it. So at some point you need to face that person and talk about it. And then, of course, I work with conflicts as well. So there's, of course, a lot of different frameworks around how do you do that. But I would say there's never a good idea to be, you did this. It could be more something around, when you say it like that you did now, it makes me feel boom, 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 boom. So it's how you phrase it, right? But of course, a toxic relationship, which is very close to you, is going to take up so much of your capacity, and it's going to really impact everything, right? Because it's
Hmm.
someone you probably still love, and you want it to work, whatever. But you can't avoid it. You need to probably do something about it.
Got it. What else in this relationship sphere? What else do you advise your clients to do when you're working with someone? You know, how do you make them get the most out of? And I say get the most out of. I think also give the most to their relationships. How do they make their relationships amazing?
Spend time with them if you can. And then maybe you can't, of course, be there for everyone at the same time. So then you take one person at a time or something. Whether that's just I mean, as if we talk about children, for example, it's they're not like us. Oh, let's have a coffee and we sit like this.
Mhm.
They don't. That's not very good for them. You go for a walk, or you play football, or you just do something with them, something
Yeah.
physical, typically, and that's how they feel. And no phone, of course, no
Hmm.
phone close by.
Hmm.
Just be there with them. I mean, they don't want your money. They don't want your
Hmm.
presents. They want time with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, let's be rational here. And you can't take a day off and do that, but you can do something. You
Mm.
can spend an evening or a weekend, or do something.
It reminds me that with my kids, I'll often say to them, "Let's go for a walk in the forest," and it's just around the corner, right? We can be in the forest in 5 minutes time.
Nice.
And being young, modern, digital kids, they kind of go, "Oh, I don't want to go to the forest," and they don't want to go, and it's really hard to get them out the door. But you sort of force them and go, "Come on, we're going for a walk." And then you get into the forest and you do your stuff, and maybe you've been there for 45 minutes or an hour or whatever. And then you say to them, "Okay, time to go home." And they go, "No, I don't want to go home. I love the forest."
Yeah, exactly.
But that time connection that you talk about is so rewarding, isn't it?
It is. And I love what you say there about the forest, because we have a bond with nature. That's just how it is, right? So if you can spend time in nature, that's also grounding you.
Mm.
So great to combine with the kids.
Cool.